Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for coming in this webinar session. And we're going to start in the next 6 minutes. So for now, we're just going to wait until more of the attendees to come in. But I would like to welcome the two early birds right now that is already here with us. If you can see, there's a comment section on the right side of your screen so that you can type in your questions later on after our presentation. And you should also see a grab the mic button on your screen if you wish to speak with us in the stage later on. You also have that option. But as of now, just invite everyone to stay tuned as we wait for the other audience. And once again, thank you very much for your for coming here. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for coming in. I can see that we already have four people in the audience. Right now, it's exactly 1:01 p.m. Singapore time right now. But if it's all right with everyone, should we still have like 3 minutes to wait for other attendees? If it's all right with Mr. Amit?
Yes, I think that will be better actually. Let's wait for a couple of more minutes so that the others can join and everybody can get benefited from the very beginning.
Yeah, that's right. That's perfectly right. So I guess I'll put a timer again for maybe 3 or 5 minutes. And for everyone that who is already here, thank you very much for coming. And while we wait for the other audience, you can also get familiarized with our platform. Um, there is an option there to put your chat in the comment sections at the right side of your screen. And you should also see a, a grab the mic option in the in your screen, so you may use that later on in our um, question and answer portion. And I can see some people writing on the comment section, but right now. And Mr. Sharma is asking where to switch on and off the camera. Um, as of now, audience will not, is not visible in the screen, so it's all right. Um, it doesn't really matter if your camera is open or not because you are not visible in the screen unless you grab the mic and get on the stage with us. Yes, good morning. And so there's now six of us here, but as we wait for the other, let's give them their 5 minutes to start. Uh, yes, thank you very much. All right, and then I guess I let everyone to stay tuned as we wait for the other audience. All right. I guess we can start now, and then we'll just let the other people come in while we proceed. So once again, good morning or good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us here. And for those who are first time doing this kind of webinar or first time experiencing this platform, I'm just going to go quickly the functions of our video conferencing platform. At the right side of your screen, you should see a section there for people where you will see all the other audience with us. And then there's also a section for comments where you can type in your comments and maybe your questions later on. You can also type in your questions while our speaker is presenting later, and then we'll just go back through it later after the session. And then you should also see some icons on your screen where you can use to express your reaction while the speaker is presenting. And then there's also an option right there to grab the mic. That means at our Q&A session, you have the opportunity to come on stage with us so you can speak your question live with our speaker. And so we're going to have 45 minutes for the discussion, and then after that, the Q&A session. And I guess that's it for the run through of our platform. And I would like to welcome again everyone in this session. In this webinar, we're going to learn about active listening skills and how to use them to improve our employee and customer engagement. And this webinar will be presented to us by our speaker, who is an expert in organizational development, setting up organizational policies, employee engagement, payroll, talent development, attraction or retention, and competency development. And without further ado, I would like to welcome on stage Mr. Amit Ganguly, our presenter for the day, the founder of Blessed IT Solutions. Mr. Amit?
Thank you, Ron. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. And good morning, good afternoon, everyone. And first of all, thanks for your sparing your time to listen to me. So what we are going to talk? We are going to talk about the active listening skill and how it helps in terms of employee and customer engagement. But before that, let's first understand what is listening and what are the very common factors. So let me ask you a question. Do you know anyone who does not listen to the people who are younger or junior in terms of the organization ladder to them? Now here, does not listen means even if someone shares their thoughts or opinion, it is never considered, even if it has merit into it. Now these people who doesn't listen or who doesn't consider, they always have a feeling deep inside their brain that I am senior or I am elder to the fellow person, and due to my experience of life and work, I know way better than the other person. So I don't need to listen to the other person. So you can put it in the chat whether any of you have experienced this kind of scenario or phenomenon, maybe at your family, friends, workspace or anywhere. I mean, the objective here is to make it a little interactive so that we share our thoughts, share our knowledge and all these things rather than becoming a monologue, one-way monologue kind of thing. Okay, so no comment. So should I assume that no one has experienced that? Fair enough. Now let me move on. Why does it happen? So if I closely observe these people, we will find that they always operate out of I am okay, you are not okay zone. As a result of that, these people always feel that he or she knows everything. So he or she never appreciate thoughts and ideas given by anyone. Let's try to dig a little deeper. The result will be amazing. When these people were kids, most likely they found that their dad or maybe even mom never paid attention to what he or she or sometimes their spouse or younger people say. These people brought up with an upbringing that they does not have to listen to people who are junior or younger to them. Now, what happens in such cases, or why does it happen? Because if my parents or demonstrate that kind of behavior when we were child, at that point of time we call it as from childhood to adulthood. Now this kind of upbringing, thoughts, learning, whatsoever we call it, gets deep rooted into or inside our system, inside our brain. As a result of that, many of times we start thinking that okay, this is a normal behavior, this is what it should be, this is what it is supposed to happen. We may not know that there could be other ways of behaving, reacting as well. Now in professional life, because of this behavior, the employee engagement score usually be poor for these guys, attrition rate will be high, and the productivity will be less. Why? Because their team members do not respect, or rather these people do not respect their juniors by listening to them. Okay, let me ask you another question. Again, kindly let's make it interactive. So, have you experienced any time that somebody is speaking to you, and or rather, let's put it this way: you tried to speak to something to your manager or boss or whoever it might be, and that person, usually 99% cases, do not pay attention or do not give value to what you are saying, you are suggesting, you are talking. Do you have any experience of that kind? Yes, no, please, in the chat box. Okay, correct, Mr. Umesh. Absolutely, absolutely. So, as a result of that, when this happens, what do we feel about that person? Do we have respect to that other person, or we should say, come on, man? I might be junior, I might be younger, but does it mean that my voice or my opinion doesn't have any value? Absolutely, Umesh, again. Absolutely. We don't have respect. We don't like that person. We don't like to speak to that person. So remember one thing too, while we are building the relationship, wherever it might be it in workplace, be it at personal space, wherever, all we should do always is pay attention to the people when they speak something, when they say something. Listen to them. Do not hear. Listen to them. That's very, very important. Trust me. Listening, patient, proper, active listening can make loads of difference in terms of the relationship between two human beings. Trust me. Now, active listening skill, often known as reflective listening, help us to improve both personality development and professional development. Active listening skill is essential to be an effective leader, a parent, a supervisor, friend, spouse, anywhere. That's what I was telling. That be it in any environment, personal space or office space or professional space, wherever it might be. So active listening to get us transformed to the next level. Now, if we talk a little more about it, now we must be wondering by now, how come people don't listen? Everybody listen. When somebody speaks, we all listen, right? But think again. What we often refer as listening is actually hearing. So what is hearing and what is listening? In case of hearing, the sound wave comes to our ear, hit our eardrum, inside our skull, and that's it. Now, whether it makes an impact on our brain or not, that depends on whether we are listening or not. So, what we need to do to ensure that what we heard makes an impact? Simple. I mean, of course, we will talk about few steps, but the first and foremost thing is pay attention. That is the most important thing. While someone is speaking, please pay attention to the speaker. So, listening is a complex and psychological process, while hearing is a physical process where just the sound comes and hit the eardrum and that's it. Now, when someone is speaking, do we, let's ask a question to ourselves, maintain an eye contact with the speaker? So, assumingly it's a physical or in-person platform, right? Kind of a one-on-one session. Now, if I don't look at the person who is speaking, if I look at like this or if I behave like this, looking at here, there, or might be working on my laptop or computer or on my phone without paying any attention, what impression am I creating? I am not listening. I am not interested. Forget about whether hearing or listening. I might not be knowing whether it is hearing or listening, right? But the first impression to the speaker gets created is this fellow is not interested about me, about what I am saying. Again, the same question, it boils down to the same question. Will I have respect to that person? Will I, unless I am compelled to do, will I go back to the same person in future to discuss something about me, my problem, my idea, whatsoever it might be? Definitely not. Again, unless I am compelled to do that. That's a different thing. Second, do I show empathy with the speaker? So today now, I mean, for last 2 years, not today, last 2 years, entire world is kind of struggling through the pandemic, and we hear a lot of bad news, not so good news, and so on and so forth. So imagine a case. One of my family member has been identified as a COVID positive, right? And I went to tell this to my, say, supervisor. So the supervisor says, just give a reaction like this. Just please kindly watch at my face and also, of course, hear or listen. Oh, you got, say for example, your spouse. Okay. Oh, your spouse got COVID. No, that's okay. Everybody is getting COVID. Now, what will you feel? Will you feel good? No, obviously not. So all we expect here is little empathy, not sympathy, little empathy. So we can show, always we can show that in our reaction, the way we speak, the way we react. Okay, facial expression, not only always it is verbal communication or verbal expression. Facial expression plays a very important role. How we are reacting, what kind of expression I am showing on my face, very important thing. Third, while somebody is speaking, do I listen to that person without being judgmental? Say for example, this fellow always talks rubbish. That's my perception about the person. Perhaps it has happened once. Let's agree. I mean, let's accept that. Now, does it mean that every time he will talk rubbish? No, may not be. Not necessarily. But I have that preconceived notion on back of my head. Whenever this person speaks, this person talks rubbish. So what is that called? As judgmental. I became judgmental about the person. How will it impact my listening ability? I will not be able to listen to that person properly. So my mode will be mostly hearing. Fourth one, for as of now, the last one. Of course, there are many other things. Listen, whether we listen to gain information or respond to the person. Again, I would request all of you to remember a conversation you had with someone recently. You said something and how that other person reacts or reacted, not reacts, sorry, reacted. Many of times we do see that people hear or listen sorry, only to ensure or only to think how he or she will respond to what I am saying. Let me give an example. Suppose we are doing the performance appraisal of our team member, right? So my team member, the person about whom we are talking about, that person was expecting a promotion. But whatsoever the XYZ reason, that person have not got the promotion. Now, when I said that, well, you know what, you have not got promoted because of course, with some empathy and all these things, assumingly. Now that person counters back. Why not, Amit? You know very well I have done blah 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 blah. These things, this that, and whatsoever, whatnot, throughout the year, throughout 6 months, whatever the cycle might be, right? And I think you or the entire process was not fair. That's why I have not got promoted. So it's kind of an anger. It's kind of a frustration which that person is expressing. Now, if I listen just to note down the point, to counter argument, place a counter argument. You know what? You said you did this good thing, but along with that, you screwed up this. Right? So, what is the purpose? In that case, what is the purpose of that type of listening? I am just gathering the point so that I can put up counter argument against each of the point. I am not listening with an open mind that, okay, what this person is saying may have some point, some merit. If I do that, trust me, again, I am talking from my experience, my life experience managing team for 18 years. Trust me, the level of frustration, level of anger, everything goes down significantly just by giving a proper listening, non-judgmental and open listening. All right, now the reason for poor listening skill is many of times we often try to jump to a conclusion before hearing out the person completely. Some people, see, when we interact with various different people, again, be it personal space, be it professional space, different people have different styles. Some people are very pointed person, straight goes to the point, say tuck 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 1 2 3 4 khatam, end, that's it, right? But there are some people who always have a habit of telling little history, little context, little details. Now, if the person is going too much of details, yes, in that case, we can rather say for example, I am the speaker and any of you are the listener. So I was telling, you know what, 5 years back when I joined, this had happened, blah, da, 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 da. So you can always tell, hey, Amit, can I please interrupt you? I think I am aware of these things. So can you please tell what is the actual problem statement or what actually the point which you want to discuss? That's not bad. But instead of that, when I'm saying the right thing, right way, not too much of history and all these things, too much of context, unwanted context, let me put it this way. Even then, many of times what we do is we start feeling, yes, I know this. I know what this other person is going to tell. I know that this person is unhappy because he or she has not got promoted, and he or she is going to tell or vent out his or her anger or frustration I'm going to tell what all good things that person has done throughout the year and argue why he or she has not got promoted. That is what I kind of thought. As a result of that, when the person is saying, what I did is jump to a conclusion, say, yes, Amit, I know what you are saying. You are going to list down all these things which you have done great and blah, 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 all these things. But are we sure that that person, say in this case, me, Amit, was going to tell exactly those points or something else? It may so happen that the speaker is more of a matured person. Perhaps this person is going to tell, yes, I know the rationale of getting promoted and all these things. I know there is some budget. I know what my peer group has done, and I appreciate the person, assumingly who got promoted. I feel that that person has done a great job. Perhaps, perhaps I actually lacked a bit compared to that person, and that's why I have not got promoted, which is fine. I am fine with that. All I am here to request you to please guide me, show me the areas of development on which I should work so that next year or in the next cycle I can excel and move up. Possible? It might so have happened. Now, if I jump to a conclusion, then what is happening? Again, I cut that person in between. I have not allowed that person to speak. To be a good listener, it is critical that we hear completely what other person is saying, what we have said. This improves our interpersonal communication, professional growth, and career satisfaction. We must maintain eye contact, be empathetic, which we have talked just now. Let's move on. If we become a skilled listener, what am I getting out of it? What's in it for me? Important thing. We all wants to know, right? What's in it for me? So we are more empathetic compared to earlier. Communication becomes more real, meaningful, worthwhile at a deeper level. As simple as that, we can talk about a simple word. We gain respect from people around us. People respect us. People like us, right? And whenever I am listening, think about we are talking to a client or customer. When customer is talking about their requirement, what they are looking for, or what is his or her, if it is an individual customer, the pain area is, if I don't listen properly, what will happen? I will have some ambiguity in my mind. As a result of that, we will start doing assumption. Now, if we do as assumption, we all know what happens. I mean, if we are very lucky, our assumptions might get correct, but usually we are not so lucky all the time. Okay, so the moment we assume, it becomes most likely perhaps it is not correct. Right? Okay, now again, maintain the eye contact with the speaker. It shows that we are listening to the speaker. Listen, do not hear. Put aside your distracting thoughts. Now, it may so happen that I am right now not in a right mood, right frame of mind, whatsoever the reason might be. It might be if it is a workplace or professional life, I have a bad deadline or tough deadline coming up, or I got beaten by my customer or client just now, or I had a ugly fight or bad fight with my children or my spouse at home. I am not feeling well. Perhaps my entire body is aching. Whatsoever might be, there could be thousands of millions of reasons, right? In such cases, believe me, we might not be able to, or 99% cases, we won't be able to give the proper listening. Because in our mind, back of our mind, what will play? All these things, related matters will keep on playing. As a result, what I am going to do is not proper listening. I will be hearing most likely. So that's why avoid being distracted, or please put aside the distracted thoughts, or avoid being distracted by the environmental factors. Could be external noise. If I take a phone call, important phone call on the middle of the road where there are a lot of sound, or might be in a airport which is not a silent airport where a lot of announcements are happening, or railway station, train station, or bus station where there are a lot of noise. Again, we won't be able to listen. We won't be able to even hear. Forget about listening. Take note if required. Very, very important, if required. This shows, while we are taking note, it shows that our interest and seriousness on one side, but be careful how much note you are going to take. Because if I am busy taking the note of the entire conversation, entire session, entire discussion, in that case, what will happen is I will miss to listen. Why so? Because our speaking, when we speak and when we write, until unless I am very good in shorthand and those kind of things. So when we write, writing speed is always much way lesser than speaking. The number of words we speak during maybe in a minute, and the number of words we can write in a minute. So we can write much lesser number of words in a minute. So if I take too much of notes, then what is going to happen is gradually there will be a gap start building up between the speaker and what I am listening, because I am busy in taking note. So take note only what is required, number one. Number two, if you feel, please request, or if it is appropriate, please request the speaker to pause for a while to write down a note. Third, if that is not appropriate or not possible, then use a technology. Again, if it is permissible, in that case, use mobile phone or any other device to record what the other person is saying, so that at your leisure time you can play, and from there play, pause, and take a note. Make sense? Seek clarification. If you have any doubt at any point of time, please feel free to seek clarification. Say, look man, this is not clear. Same applies for this session also. Please, if you have any doubt, do not keep the doubt inside your head. Feel free to seek clarification. And again, defer judgment, don't be judgmental or jump to the conclusion. Moving on. Different types of listening. So we have total different 5-6 types of listening. Let's talk one by one. First is active listening. What does it mean? This is the first level of listening. Here, what we do, what we demonstrate, we pay full attention to the speaker, number one. Here, for example, Amit has come to the supervisor Joe. Say, this is Amit, employee, and this is the supervisor Joe, assumingly, to discuss some work-related matter. Joe asked Amit to carry on, but continues working on his laptop. Amit will have an instant feeling that Joe is not paying attention, or might be he's busy with something else, so that he will stop. Quite obvious reaction, right? Now, what Joe said, normally what we should behave, we should say, hey, sorry Amit, this is little important. Can you please give me 2 minutes so that I can finish this off, and then we will talk or we will discuss? That is the right behavior. Instead of that, Joe, being an arrogant manager who has that I am okay, you are not okay attitude in the back of his head, whatever the reason might be, told Amit to, hey, no, I'm listening. You carry on. Now, this is not active listening. While listening to the other person, we need to pay visible attention to the speaker, which creates a feel-good factor to the speaker and he or she will feel free to speak. It may so happen theoretically, though normally 99% of us human beings are not meant for multitasking, doing multitasking, but assumingly that the other person, Joe, is fantastic in multitasking. He is like a supercomputer, right? He can do many things at one point of time. But even then, the visible attention factor will be missing. Even if I know that this person is excellent in multitasking, but still, I'll still have something on my brain. Hey, come on, man, this person is not listening. So all we can do, minimum we can do to showcase active listening is to look at the person, have an eye contact, and acknowledge that you are listening. How should we acknowledge that we are listening? Very simple. Nod your head. That is a visible cue, visual cue. Some verbal cue. I see. Oh, is that? I'm really sorry to hear that. Right? So these are the verbal cues. So those cues again help a lot to ensure that I am listening. Now, second type is empathetic listening. This we have discussed, so I don't want to bore you again. Very quickly, as we all know, empathy means putting ourselves in the other shoes. So empathetic listening means we really feel or understand the situation or the emotion of the speaker. So again, this helps to build trust. Third, appreciative listening. Again, very, very important, and many of times we lack in it. When a listener appreciates the speaker, this is called appreciative listening. For example, when your spouse or daughter or son or a team member gives you a good idea, if we say, wow, that's a wonderful idea, I like it. Just one statement, one sentence. What will be the reaction to the other person? That person will feel good. That person will feel encouraged to speak. That person will feel that I have value. Come on. Look, this fellow who might be very elder or organization ladder wise very senior to me, but still he or she not only listen to me but also appreciate it. So that creates a very good vibe. And believe me, all these small things help us to build trust, to build another thing which we call as employee engagement. People or the team members will feel engaged. Your client, customer, they will feel engaged with us, with the salesperson. Remember one thing, when we are talking about especially client or customer and all these things, yes, if it is a B2B kind of business also, ultimately by the end of the day, two businesses are coming close to each other and having relationship, agreed. But what are businesses? Are the businesses a living entity? Do businesses actually create relationship or establish relationship? No, it's people. It's a human at both the sides who keep on discussing with each other, connect with each other, and they have the relationship. Most likely the top level of the organization, both the organization. So when it boils down to human people, at that point of time, if we listen, again, active listening, by virtue of giving active listening, we basically win heart, be it for the employees, be it for my customers or clients. As a result of that, two organizations ultimately become partner. Many of times it become long lasting partner. Okay. Now next type of listening, critical listening. Now critical listening is not a good practice. Here we are judgmental or analyze on what the speaker is saying. Though critical listening does not mean, please pay attention to this statement, though critical listening does not mean to criticize the speaker directly, but as we tend to be judgmental about the fact being spoken, we often jump into the conclusion, which we need to avoid. And finally, last one, passive listening. It should be 100% be avoided. Passive listening means listening without giving any reaction. So in this case, speaker often gets confused whether he or she is being listened or not. So show some positive language, body language, as we are mentioning, eye contact, nodding our head, I see, makes a lot of difference. There's small gestures. Okay. Now, importance of active listening. How it helps. It reduces the stress and tension. Today the biggest challenge is no one, trust me, no one is genuinely interested in listening. I am making a huge statement, I know I am making a big statement, but unfortunately that's reality. No one is interested to listen. So everyone wants to speak, or they listen for rebuttals. Because of this challenge, communication between two humans is deteriorating by day by day. By giving an active listening to the people around us, we can win their hearts, we can establish a great relationship. As a result of practicing active listening, people around us will encourage to speak whatever is there in their mind. Thus, there will be much lesser stress or tension in their mind or in our mind. Okay. So, if we talk about the stress, tension, and all these things, I mean, how we can implement that? Let me put a question. How do we implement that? Is it easy to become an active listener? It's not. It requires practice. We need to learn the steps, and we consciously need to keep those points in our mind, and we need to practice. So true listening always promotes cooperation. It assumes that the other person has worth, feels dignified, which we have spoken earlier, and has something to offer. People who feel that you are honestly interested in them and value their thoughts and opinion will readily understand your point of view. This builds a trustworthy, positive relationship, and working relationship improves from there. Listening to ourselves, self-listening, to achieve self-awareness, again very important. We can choose our response rather than reacting automatically given to any given situation. Many of us, we react based on the situation. We blame the situation. Because of this situation, I have reacted. Because that person told me or said this to me, so I have reacted. I have blasted to him or her. No. If I have a self-realization, self-awareness, I should have a power or ability to control that. I will be knowing when to react and when not to react. Okay. So, if we talk, we have come to almost at the end of the presentation. So, let's talk about the employee engagement, which bits and pieces we have of course discussed so far. When we start listening to our team member, what do we achieve? Our team members feel encouraged to speak and take their heart out. This helps us, trust me, to understand a possible dissatisfaction of the team member or members. So it acts as a AWS, not Amazon Web Services. It will be EWS, early warning system. Okay. So before it becomes big, the problem or challenge becomes big, goes out of control, we can arrest it. We come to know. The team members started feeling that their opinion has value to their manager, gradually to the management, to the organization, leadership, whoever might be. I mean, across the ladder, I would say. The wall between the manager and employee is gradually broken. Again, trust, belief, a relationship. The team gets converted into a family. Very, very, very big statement. those who are doing the team management or have done the team management, owning the organization, or in a very senior position or in a senior position of the organization, you all will agree with me that when our team is become like a family, in that case we get loads of advantage. Does it mean that within the family we don't have conflict? Of course we have small conflicts, manageable conflicts, but because of that, those conflict, do we get separated because of very small reason, minimal reason, small reason whatsoever it might be? We don't, right? So here also the same thing. We do not, the employees will not leave us. So attrition will come down and retention will go up. Team members will have respect and trust to their managers. Now let's talk about the customer or client. We understand their problem statement, what the customer wants. See, we are here to provide a solution to solve a problem of our customer or a client, not to force fit a solution which we are good at. Right? Imagine a situation, a very simple basic thing. Our customer or someone I'm meeting is looking for a medical insurance, and we are trying to force him to take a life insurance, for example, or maybe an accidental policy, an insurance policy. Will it work? Most likely not. It may work in future, but first I need to give the right medical insurance which fulfill his or her or their families, his or her family's need. Right? That's most important. Once that happens, then if we build a trustworthy relationship, tomorrow if he requires an accidental policy or life insurance policy or whatsoever, and if I am selling those things as well, to whom that person will come back? To me, obviously. So we are having a long-lasting relationship. Same applies for a B2B situation also. As I was mentioning, that B2B, organization to organization relationship, doesn't mean that organizations are living entity. So the relationship happens or builds up between the living entities who are part of the organization. Organization is like a box or a bubble, right? So when the people, decision-making people or the right people, I would say, build up that relationship at both the sides, in that case, the organizational relationship also grows. So we are into a position to suggest or provide the right solution. If there is a lapse with our service earlier, by allowing the customer to talk about it, the level of frustration reduces and again help to build a stronger relationship. Do not stop. Do not stop saying that, you know what, this problem has been done by my predecessor whose name is XYZ. Now he is no longer with the company, or he has gone or she has gone. Now I am there. I am here to solve every problem of yours, and you will never face a problem. Now if I have faced a problem from your predecessor, will I really trust to another person of the employee if the problem is very serious? I may think that is a problem with the organization, their organizational policies. Perhaps the new guy also do the same thing or might be even worse. So allow that person to speak. Identify what are the areas of frustration, why that person is angry, what went wrong, how we can address those things. Those things are very important so that we can bridge the gap. The customer or the client feels valuable, obviously, and the customer will trust and respect the concerned or consultant or the salesperson. So with this, we come to the end of the formal presentation. Now requesting you to ask questions or share your experiences, whatever, anything.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Amit, for that very practical information. And so we're now going to proceed with the question and answer portion of our webinar. So for everyone that has any question, you may now type in those questions in our comment section. And you should also see a button called grab the mic in your screen if you want to speak here with us in the stage. So you can speak live with our speaker and ask your question. And actually, I also believe that everyone will agree if I say that in any field or in any industry, I think one of the most important asset of a company, whatever field or industry they are, is their people. And having a great relationship with the people really gives a big impact in the company itself, not just about the customers, just within your team itself. It's really gonna make a big impact if you have good relationship with the people. And as the speaker said a while ago, if you have any doubt, you are very welcome to seek clarification. So if there's anyone here that do you have any questions, please free please feel free to ask now. So you can either type in or grab the mic and I will let you come in the audience. I mean in the stage.
Thanks, Ron. Just to add on what Ron has said, it may not be a question always. It can be. You can feel. I mean, you feel free to share your experience as well. See, in this kind of thing, it's not necessary that I know everything about listening. No, 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 no. Please don't get me wrong, right? So, if you have any experience, please feel free to share so that others will get enlightened.
That's true. So anyone? So you can either type in your question or there should be a button on the lower left side of your screen for the grab the mic option for you to speak here with us. So Mr. Umesh said that it was clear in the basics and that was done very nicely. Thank you very much, Mr. Umesh, for that comment.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Umesh. Okay.
Okay, someone asks.
Correct. What do we do as a manager if employee is not listening to you properly? Well, that's a very good point, Sami. One thing is the best possible way, honestly, is help him, her, or them to go through. I mean, see, in an organization, maybe you can take a top-down approach. Ask them to undergo some listening skill workshop, training, whatsoever it might be, so that they get enlightened. Or whatever you have learned or you have seen here, you may share your experiences, your thoughts, and all these things, and help them to become a better listener. So, in that case, 99% cases, they will become a better listener. But, point of caution, Sami, please do not expect the changes overnight. This is a transformation, this is a life transformation event. It takes time. So, give them time, do a coaching, give them a coaching, proper coaching, and definitely they will improve. Does it answer, Sami, your question? Thank you.
There's also
Okay,
another question.
right. Could you please talk about non-verbal cues? Very simple. Which shows in our face or by nodding head, or if you can see my screen. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me stop sharing the screen so that you can view me completely in a bigger window. So, assumingly that I am doing it like this. So these are non-verbal cues, right? I mean, these are very basic, of course, but yes, some simple things, or maybe even hand gestures. Okay, say for example, if someone is speaking in an office environment or even in a virtual environment, and if I sit like this, So that shows I am not interested. While if I sit like this, it shows yes, I am interested, I am listening. Okay, Ajay says how to react when others speak, but that was not true. Allow that person to speak, complete the what he or she wants to say, and then in such cases we can do critical listening when we are sure that this what that other person is saying is just, I mean, not telling the truth. Okay, so in such cases, yes, we can do a point by point addressing those things, but never, it should never look like that we are listening for rebuttals. Number one, never, please never interrupt that person in between. Allow that person to speak what he or she wanted to say, and then tell. And after saying that, after giving each point, allow that other person to say. Make it as a discussion kind of thing rather than putting a steamroller, rather than driving a steamroller. Make it a discussion. Make it a two-way communication. Does it help, Ajay? And Nanda also, had I been able to address your query? Any other question? Yes, I understand. I agree with Ajay. It's a little tricky. There are other ways of connecting it. But yes, what we can perhaps do is, if you wish to know more, it's because of time constraint, we can't discuss in details. Our time is almost over. Maybe we can connect one-on-one later. If you feel, then we can see, I mean, if we can help each other.
All right, that's true. Thank you very much for everyone actively participating in this webinar. And our speaker, Mr. Amit, will be able to also get follow-ups with you later on. And once again, I would like to give thanks to our speaker, Mr. Amit, for sharing this very important practical information. This is really something that we have to do consciously. It's really not that easy to do. It needs practice, as what he has said. But it's really important to have good communication skills in this time. So once again, thank you very much, Mr. Amit. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending. Do you have any last words before we close this webinar?
I mean, of course, I want to give a kind of a vote of thanks to first you for hosting and be a wonderful host for the event, and of course to all the participants for joining in and be interactive, discussing, and all these things. So it was excellent connecting with you all, and thank you so much for your time, and it was great session. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, Mr. Amit. Thank you very much, everyone. And I hope you have a great day ahead. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.